Hi guys, welcome back to the Resinator. Today I'm going to try making something that I have been dying to have a go at, and that is a stained glass window. I love stained glass windows, so I can't wait to try this. So this mould came from Into Resin. I've got a 20% discount code. So all you need to do when you get to the checkout is apply the discount code, which is Resinator 20, and that's for a really good 20% off. The link to Into Resin will be in the description. So let's mix some resin. So I've mixed my resin. Today's resin is Tea Expert 1 part 1 epoxy. I wanted to mix about 20 mils, but in my excitement overpoured the hardener, so ended up making a bit more, but that's okay because I have plenty of dump moulds sat to the side of me that if I've got anything left over I can use it up. So the first bit that we need to do on this mould is in the grooves of the pattern, so that would be black. So I'm going to use black mica powder. The brand of mica powder that I'm using at the moment is Nick Pro. I'm not sure how much I'm going to need, so I want this bit fairly opaque. And we want to make sure that there's absolutely no lumps in this because the area that it's going into is very small. So we need to make sure that it's really well mixed in. That's pretty good already actually. Maybe put a tiny little bit more in. I'd rather have it on the darker side. So as always, when you're using resin, make sure you use your appropriate PPE. So as you can see, I'm wearing gloves, but you also need to be wearing a respirator and an apron. And I put links to all of the PPE that I use in the description of all of my videos. Okay. That looks pretty well incorporated. So I wasn't sure how to get this resin into this mould without making too much of a mess. But then to be fair, it's me and I always make a mess, but you know, we want to try and not have to clean up too much. So I've got some syringes. I work in the healthcare sector, so I've got some syringes here, but I'm not sure if the end is going to be thin enough. Let me just get some kitchen roll. It's where I've wiped my gloves. They're pretty wet now. So I've got a couple of different things that I can use. Right at the moment, I'm liking using micro brushes to add, you know, to drop good amounts of resin. Oh, I've got something in that already. Good amounts of resin in, so I might need that for the more intricate areas. But I've got numerous different things that I can try. So, but first of all, I'm going to give the syringe a go. So, I want to make sure that I've got no bubbles in this syringe. And I want to wipe the end off. So let's give it a go. Let's start round the edge. I'm just putting a gentle amount of pressure on. I might have put a little bit too much pressure on that, so let's get a cotton bud, see if I can push that in a little bit. Yeah, there's too much there, but I can spread it. So in the end, I decided, after trying various methods, to go with a micro brush, drop it in, let it flow, and then clean up any excess as I go along. It's very fiddly work. I think a syringe would work if I had a narrower tip, so I guess I need to source some with really pointy ends. But as you can see, when I go over, I just grab a cotton bud and give it a wipe, and that also tends to pull it in the right direction as well. And then I go back and carry on. I find if I dab a little bit in the mould where there's a junction, I can get a little bit in without it overflowing, and then let it flow a little bit to where I want it and pull it with the micro brush. But of course, time is of the essence here, so I need to get a wriggle on. I also need to watch that I don't put bubbles in the mould like I did there. There we go. So there's a little bit there now that I can clean up. So here we are. I've done the black. It's taken me ages because I used a combination of cocktail sticks and micro brushes to get the black into the narrow spaces and to spread it out evenly. It's a slow process, and you've got to try and work fairly quick because obviously your resin starts to cure. So there was at one point where it was starting to get a little bit too tacky for it to flow into the areas where I wanted it to. So I put that in a dump mould and I made up some fresh. But this is now on my heat mat. I'm going to leave it, well, I say overnight. I'm actually working tomorrow and I won't be back until the evening. So by then it'll be lovely and cured and I'll be able to start adding the colour, which is the bit I'm really looking forward to. So I'll be thinking about it all day at work tomorrow now. I'm not sure what kind of resin I'm going to use yet. I think I'll get a better flow with epoxy, but then I run the risk of bubbles. You get less bubbles with UV, but we'll see. I'll have a think about it tomorrow and see. So There we go. I'll see you back tomorrow evening when we start adding the colour. So it's the next day and it's time to add some colour to this. So I've mixed up 10 mils of J. Diction 1-1 crystal clear epoxy. We've got a 40-minute work time with this. It's already mixed and ready to go. I just need to add my colours. So I'm going to start with the roses. Now I've chosen 3 different shades of red from the Let's Resin 26 piece alcohol ink range, and I've chose red, purplish red and sugar light. I've tested them on a piece of kitchen roll because I want them, yeah, so I want to add a little bit of depth. So let's go with the sugar light first. So I think I'm going to want less of the purplish red because that seems to be the darkest. I'm only going to go with 1 drop at a time to start with, because I'm only mixing a small amount of resin. I probably need to mix more. Need to make sure it's really well mixed in. And then I'm going to first of all, I'm going to try dabbing it in with a micro brush and see how we go. I don't think this is going to be dark enough. I say dark enough, I mean pigmented enough. So I'm going to put 1 more in there, but I think that'll be it after that. Really need to mix this in well because I really don't want it to be streaky, because once it goes into this it will show every little streak. So I'm going to leave that for a minute and then I'll give it another mix before I use it. And then the next one I'm going to pop in is the red. I'm going to go straight in for 2 drops, I think. Oh, that was so going to happen, wasn't it? And then last, the purplish red. I'm going to go with 1 drop to start with this. It is much darker than the other 2. I love seeing alcohol ink spread. Look at that. Now that I'm mixing this, I'm not sure that I like this purplish red. I'm going to put that to one side for a sec because I'm not sure about that, but I know that I'm happy with these 2. So let's get started. I'm going to start and then see if I feel like I need to add any more alcohol ink to this. I'm just dabbing it in and pulling it around. It's still a little bit streaky actually. And then I'm just going to gently push it up to the black line. Yeah, I think I might need to put some more in that. So I think I'm probably going to do the bird in blues and purples. Obviously the leaves are going to be green, because I think it would be a bit daft if I didn't do them green. And then I'm not sure what I want to do for this bit that goes around the edge. So I'm going to do that last, because I really can't decide what to do. Push that up to the edges just a little bit more. There we go. So I'm going to carry on doing these off camera, and then I'll come back and show you just before I start the green leaves. So as you can see, I've finished the red now, and it's time to move on to the green. So I'm just going to get a bit of kitchen roll, just so I can test them on a bit of paper before I add them into my resin. Make sure I've got the right shade. Yeah, that's a good one. I think this one might be a bit too bright. It's okay. Let's have a look at the other one. Okay, so I'm going to go with 2 drops of forest green and 2 drops of green. They're different enough that you'll be able to differentiate between the two, because a couple of these leaves are split in half. I'm going to use micro brushes. So in the end I filled in these roses completely with micro brushes. So let's give this a good mix in. actually think that is going to need another drop. I made up 10 mils of the same resin again, the J Diction 1-1 epoxy, and it was about right. With the red there was very little wastage. I'm not sure what this one would be like. Okay, let's dot a little bit of this in and see if I've got it dark enough. No, I think I might add another one. Not sure about that. I don't think that's going to be anywhere near dark enough, so I might put a tad of emerald green in that as well, just to see if it darkens it up a little bit. I'm just going to add a little bit into this one. Still not sure about that. Let's go with another emerald green. Yeah, it's a little bit better. I think I'd still like it a little bit darker, but I don't know. So I'm just going to fill a few of these in, and then you can generally see if there's enough in the area, because it'll fill it nicely. If not, it will start to pull away a little bit, and then I was finding with the flowers that I was just adding a little bit more until it stopped pulling away from the black lines. As you can see, if you see there, you can probably see that bit there is pulling away. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. That's bled into that bottom colour a little bit, but I might just mix that in a little bit, give it a little bit more depth. I actually found this easier as the resin was starting to thicken up and get a bit tackier when it came to the roses. Can you see there that's pulled away? I might hang on and let the resin get a little bit tackier before I add any more in, because I don't want it to bleed in like it did there. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill some of the other leaves. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest of these off camera, and then I'm going to do the bird in blue and purple, and then I think I'm probably going to let that cure. I might see how it's all going, because I would like to get this bit done, ready for the main coat that I'm going to do over the top later, and then I will come back and show you then how far I've got. So there's my colour all done. Now some of the colours started to bleed into each other, and I did start to try and sort that out and thought maybe I would wait for one colour to dry before I did the next. But as it continued to happen, I actually really started to like the effect, because I think it gives it a bit of depth. So I decided to leave it, and I'm actually hoping that this one bleeds in a little bit more, and maybe this one. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with the process and what's happening with it. I'm just touching little bits up as I spot them. So yeah, I've got my heat mat on, and I'm going to leave this now until tomorrow. And then tomorrow I will do this edging, and then we'll leave it till the day after, and then I'll do the back coat, and we'll see how it goes. But so far I'm really happy with it. I really hope these colours bleed in a little bit more. I think it looks really pretty. Right, okay then, so I will be back tomorrow for the next stage. So it's the next day, and everything's cured beautifully. I'm really pleased because some of the green has run into the red like I hoped, so it's made a really interesting effect, and I really like that. So it's now time to do this border. I think I'm going to do the wider border first, because I don't know if I want to do both sections the same colour. I know I'm going to do these, I think I'm going to do these little squares here and in the corners in a different colour entirely. But I think I'm going to go with yellow. So I've mixed up 10 mils of the same resin as I used for the flowers, and that is J Diction 1-1 epoxy. Give it a good mix. I'm not worried about bubbles because most of them will go as soon as I put the alcohol ink in. This is just yellow Let's Resin alcohol ink from the 26 colour range. And I'm gonna pop a couple of drops in there. 1, 2. Let's go with that. Give that a mix and see how we go. Oh yeah, I like that yellow. I think I might stick another one in actually. So that's 3 drops for 10 mil. Not sure how dark that's going to be, so I might just do a little test in a second and see if I need to. Yeah, I'll just test it a little bit. So I need to grab some micro brushes, because that's how I'm gonna put it in to start with. And let's just get it in a position where I can see. So I'm going to do this one, I think. Let's just dab a little bit in. and see, because it looks quite dark in the cup because it's a thicker amount. Yeah, I think before I go too far with that, I'm going to pop another drop in it. Okay. I doubt if one drop's made too much difference actually. So I'm going to fill this one up, move on to the next bit and wait and see what this one does, because when I was, as you will see from earlier on in the video, as I was doing the flowers and the leaves, if there's not enough in that area, it pulls away from the edges. So when that happened, I just kept adding it bit by bit until it stopped doing that. So I'm going to go up to the edge. Now this bit I don't really want it to bleed into the next colour. Yeah, it's pulling away already. So I am going to wait for all of this yellow to cure before I do the next colour. Let's turn that a bit. And move on to this one. But yeah, I think either when you're doing this, I thought a thinner resin would be easier, and whilst it does flow better, I found it a bit easier once, you know, a few minutes after you'd mixed the resin and it was just starting to go a little bit tackier. I felt it was better to control, it was easier to control when it was like that. But also, if you wait for that to happen, you've got less work time left. So I'm just gonna get on with it, I think. So I'm going to do this one on camera, and we will probably time lapse it, and then I'll pop back and show you at the end when I've got all that filled in. So I will see you in a bit. So as you can see, I filled the border in with yellow, and then I mixed a little bit of orange into the yellow and just dotted it in, and I've let it swirl itself, because I don't want like one solid colour. I want it to look a little bit more organic. There are still some little bits that are pulling away, and when that happens, I'm just moving it around and dabbing another little bit of resin in. So I'm just keeping an eye on it for now. I've got the heat mat on. It's probably going to be too late to do the next bit in the centre there tonight, so that'll be a job for tomorrow, and then the day after that I'll get the backing on it. I'm really pleased with how it's looking so far though. So far I absolutely love it. Okay, so I'll be back tomorrow after this is cured, and we'll do the next stage. So it's the next day and it's time to put the final bit of colour in this frame bit around here. Now I'm not going to lie, I tried to do this last night and I just could not decide what colour I wanted to do it. So I initially did like a metallic grey, and I got along here, sort of along two parts of it, and decided that I absolutely hated it. So I cleaned it out and I thought, let's try purple. And I did the same with the purple and thoroughly hated that too. And by then I was starting to get cross and I was tired. So I thought, you know what, let's just save this for tomorrow and come at it with a fresh set of eyes. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to go with blue for this, and I just hope that I don't start putting it in and then decide that I absolutely hate it. So anyway, let's get on with it. I've mixed a little bit of J Diction 1-1 epoxy, and I'm going to add some sapphire blue Let's Resin alcohol ink into that. So let's do 3 to start with. That was 4, but never mind. And then give that a stir in. It's probably going to be more than 4, to be fair. I don't know why I couldn't decide on the colour. It was just, I don't know, I kept putting a colour in and thinking, no, that's not right. It doesn't go with the others, you know, the colours that are already in it. I don't know. I'm colour theory, I'm not great at colour theory anyway, to be honest. I think I need to invest in some colour theory cards. I'm going to pop a little bit of this Azure blue in as well. Not sure if that's quite the right shade that I want. Let's finish mixing it in anyway. I think that's about right. So I'm just going to get on with it, I think, because this project's taken me all week. I've had to be doing a couple of hours on it each night when I get home from work. And I just really, it's not that I want to get it finished, I just can't wait to see it finished. That's more the point. I've made a little, I decanted a little bit of that resin out before I coloured it, and just to make a brown, because there's, looks like this little bit here should be sort of a branch or something that the bird's on, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do it and then fill it in and think, oh my god, that's wrong. And then end up cleaning it out and doing it again, which I've done a lot of this project, but hey. So let's bring that back in. Right, let's just do it. And straight away I blob it on the bit that I don't want to blob it onto. I still think that needs more blue. Yeah, definitely it does. Definitely. Let's go in with some more. I think it could probably do with being a little bit more pigmented, but I'm going to carry on with it because this blue is going to be coming up alongside this blue bird, and I think with it not being as dark as the bird, I think that would work better because it won't look like I've just used the same in the bird as in this frame bit. So I'm going to carry on. And we'll see what it's like when I get up against the bird here. What I didn't want was the same colour bird as this frame bit that I'm doing now. And actually that's okay. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. There we go. So the blue is now done. I'm glad that I waited till today actually before having another go at it, because I'm quite happy with that blue. So the heat mat is now on, and then as soon as this blue has cured, it'll be time to fill it in, which I'm looking forward to. So I'll see you back when it's time for that. So this blue is now cured enough to put our backing on. Don't forget, this is not what you will see. This is actually the back because it's in a mould. I've been agonising over what to do with this backing, and I've decided to go with a white mica powder, but I don't want it too opaque. So this is silvery white. I'm going to add a little bit of that in at a time because, like I said, I don't want it opaque. I want it to just be a little bit milky. So I'm going to keep adding that in slowly until I get the desired effect. Still quite streaky. I'm going to put a little tiny bit more in because I think, to be fair, that's actually pretty close to what I want already. Also remember that this mould, even though it looks, where I put the resin in, it looks glossy, it's actually a matte mould. So depending on what it looks like, when it's demoulded, I may put a clear top coat on it. I'm not sure though. That's quite nice, but I think I might put a teeny tiny bit of iridescent gold in there, but really just a little bit. This is where I've put that in and then realise that I hate it. Let's hope not, because I'm not wasting this resin. I've actually made up 6 ounces. Was it 6? No, I made up 8 ounces because I haven't got a clue how much I need. I've got to make sure there's no lumps in it because they will stick out like a sore thumb. I actually do prefer it with that little bit of gold in it. Should I put any more in? No, I'm going to leave it as it is. Don't overthink it, Jules. Okay. This really goes against the grain because I've made something that I find really, really pretty. And now I'm going to pour a load of white all over it. Okay, I need to bite the bullet and just do it. So I'm going to try pouring it from a height, because apparently that helps bubbles burst and pop on the way down. And actually that does seem to work. There's a few bubbles in there, but I'm going to try and work them out, and we'll give it a spritz with some alcohol as well. You should still be able to see the pattern through it, which is what I wanted. I didn't want this a solid white. I didn't want it opaque. I wanted it sort of in between the two. And look at that. 8 fluid ounces is the perfect amount. I'm actually quite impressed with myself there, because we all know that I'm really terrible with quantities. Okay, let's see if there's any bubbles that I can work out. I think that's a bubble there. Just going to give it a little move around, see if it'll free any trap bubbles. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, time to give it a spritz with 99.9% isopropyl alcohol. There we go. So I am going to put the heat mat on, but I'm going to wait for the alcohol to evaporate, and then we'll get the mat on. And then as soon as that's done, I'll be back for the demold. I'm so nervous about this demold. This is probably the most nerve-wracking demold that I've ever done. Nervous but excited. So deep breath, let's do it. Let's loosen it all the way around. It's still slightly bendy, but cured enough to do the demold, I hope. Okay, it's off. The mould is off. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. Oh my God, I absolutely love it. Oh, wow. Oh my God, I love it. I'm going to stand up and bring it closer. Look at that. Oh my goodness me. I do think I'm going to put a top coat on it, but I'm not going to do that today because it's getting quite late. Wow, I can't believe it. This is probably my most favourite thing I've ever done. And I do think the if I top coat it, it will really bring out the colours. I didn't think the purple was showing up from the other side, but it has. It's shown through. Definitely made the right choice in this pale blue. I love where the colours have run together. I absolutely love that. Oh wow, I'm really, really happy with that. Oh gosh. So this mould came from Into Resin. Don't forget that there's a 20% discount code for Into Resin for a really, really good 20% off your basket when you get to checkout. My discount code for that is Resinator 20. Thank you so much to those of you that have stuck around to the end of this video. I know it's been a really long one. If you made it this far, throw an emoji in the comments and let me know if you'd prefer me to, when I do these longer projects, if you would prefer me to split them into short videos and do, you know, multiple parts. Yeah, leave a comment and let me know. Please like and share and subscribe. It's a couple of quick clicks and it really helps my channel grow. Links to everything that I've used in this project are in the description, including the discount code for Into Resin. All the links for all my socials and to for my Etsy shop and to buy me a coffee are also in the description. And all that's left to say now is thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care. Bye.